The history of computing dates back several centuries, but the modern era of computing began in the mid-20th century with the development of electronic computers. Here's a brief overview of some key milestones. The abacus, invented in ancient China, was one of the earliest devices used for performing mathematical calculations. The invention of the mechanical calculator in the 17th century allowed for more complex calculations to be performed with greater speed and accuracy. The first programmable machine was created in the early 19th century by Charles Babbage. Known as the analytical engine, it was designed to perform complex calculations using punch cards. The first electronic computer, the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, ENIAC, was built in 1945. It was enormous, filling an entire room, and was used primarily for military purposes. In the 1950s and 1960s, the development of transistors and integrated circuits led to the creation of smaller, faster, and more powerful computers. The invention of the microprocessor in the early 1970s revolutionized computing by allowing for the creation of smaller, more affordable computers. The development of the personal computer in the 1980s made computing accessible to the masses, leading to a boom in the tech industry. The invention of the World Wide Web in the early 1990s transformed the Internet from a network of computers into a platform for communication, commerce, and social interaction. Certainly, here are some additional milestones in the history of computing. In the 1940s, the first high-level programming languages were developed, which made it easier to write software for computers. These included Fortran, COBOL, and Lisp. In the 1960s, time-sharing systems were developed, which allowed multiple users to access a single computer simultaneously. This was a precursor to the modern concept of cloud computing. The first personal computer, the Altair 8800, was introduced in 1975. It was sold as a build-it-yourself kit and ran on BASIC, a programming language that was accessible to non-experts. The 1980s saw the rise of the graphical user interface, GUI, which made computers more user-friendly and accessible. The Macintosh, released by Apple in 1984, was one of the first computers to feature a GUI. The development of the Internet in the 1990s made it possible to share information and communicate globally. The creation of the first web browser, Mosaic, in 1993, marked the beginning of the web as we know it today. The introduction of smartphones and tablets in the 2000s brought computing power to people on the go, and made it possible to access information and communicate from anywhere. In recent years, the field of quantum computing has emerged, which promises to revolutionize computing by allowing for the processing of vastly larger amounts of data than is possible with classical computers. These are just a few of the many significant developments in the history of computing. The field continues to evolve rapidly, and it will be interesting to see what new innovations and breakthroughs emerge in the future. Overall, the history of computing has been marked by rapid technological progress, with each new advancement paving the way for even greater innovation and development.